Obi and the Battle for the Bone. Obi was no ordinary dog. He was 13 years old, a small Yorkshire Terrier with a big personality and the boss of the house. He loved his family, his father and Victoria, and he always made sure there was enough barking, cuddling and sniffing during the day. But then one day, something strange happened. 2 kittens moved in. Obi looked at them. They were small, shaggy, and a little fun to sniff. He accepted them as long as they stayed away from his things, especially his bone. But one day, while Obi was taking a well-deserved nap, disaster struck. One of the kittens snuck over and took the bone. When Obi woke up and realized this, his ears pricked up. He stared. His leg. He jumped up and with a determined dare, he lunged over and stared at the kitten. The kitten stared back. They stood still. An intense moment. Then, with a sigh of resignation, the kitten let go of the leg and spun. Obi grabbed it, turned proudly, and lay down with a little grunt in the middle of the living room. He had won, again. But maybe those kittens weren't so crazy after all. If only they knew who was in charge. Obi and the cat conspiracy. Obi had just gotten his bone back and was feeling like a king. The kittens had calmed down, mostly because they knew he had eyes on the back of his head. Everything was peaceful, until Victoria screamed. Ouch, it bit my finger. Obi got up. The kitten sat innocently next to her, licking its paw as if nothing had happened. But Obi knew that look. Something was up. Victoria looked at her father with wide eyes and said, "It did it on purpose. It bit me just when I was going to scratch it behind the ear." Dad raised his eyebrows. But why on earth would a kitten bite you just because you wanted to pet it? Then came the explanation. The kitten, whose real name was Professor Pievs, had previously lived at a secret agent academy for cats. There, he had learned that if anyone tried to activate the mysterious area behind his left ear, it could trigger a chain reaction in his brain that would reveal top-secret feline plans for world domination. So he had no choice but to bite Victoria in self-defense. Just a little bit, just enough to stop her finger before the balance of the world was thrown off. Victoria looked speechless. "So, he thinks I'm a spy." Obi stared at the kitten for a long moment. He knew it. These weren't normal cats. This was the start of something bigger. Chapter 3. Obi and the Shadow Clan Kittens. After the incident with Victoria's finger, Obi could feel it in his bones, and it wasn't just arthritis. Something was seriously wrong. The 2 black kittens with their soft paws and cute little meows. Gigi and Bello were not what they seemed. He had seen Bella chew on his bone, and now Gigi had bitten Victoria. No matter how cute they looked, they were trained. It was clear. Obi began to keep an eye out. Every night, while the house was asleep, he would sneak around. He had discovered something strange. The kittens were disappearing, and came back with small things: a glittering paperclip, a cut-off elastic band, a piece of bacon, the last one he took himself, of course. He followed them one evening, and there, in the back corner of the living room, behind the sofa cushions, he saw it. A mini agent center built from Lego bricks and toothpicks, with maps, radar, and a small computer made from an old remote control. On the screen flashed, "Mission Shadow Clan, infiltrate, neutralize, take over the sofa." Obi gasped silently, like a real spy dog. The kittens were part of the dreaded Shadow Clan, a secret association of cats that wanted to take over all the soft furnishings in Denmark. The next target was clear: Obi's sofa. But not as long as Obi was alive and barking. He had to act quickly. He crept back, gathering his most important supplies: a half-chewed meat bone, an old sock, a dried liver treat, and Victoria's walkie-talkie. It was time to activate Plan VOV. Chapter 4. Obi goes undercover and discovers something extraterrestrial. After discovering kittens, Gigi and Bella's hidden agent base behind the couch cushions, Obi knew one thing for sure: the Shadow Clan had to be stopped. He retreated under the dining room table, his secret headquarters. Here he planned his counterattack, Plan VOV. But to get close to the enemy, he had to do something daring, something brilliant. He went undercover like a slightly stupid, half-forgetful, sleepy old dog. And it worked. The kittens began to speak freely in front of him. "Mission Sofa is almost complete," Gigi said one night. "But we still have to send the signal to the mothership," Bella whispered, pointing to their Lego radar. The mothership? Obi pricked up his ears. It got worse. They were talking about Project Fur Portal and transmitting furniture coordinates to Galactic Command Center. It wasn't just Shadow Clan. These kittens were aliens. Suddenly, Ovi understood everything. The white spots in their fur weren't random. There were star maps. They had been sent to Earth for one thing, to take over the world's softest furniture. One sofa at a time, from Jotland to Jupiter. But Obi had an advantage. He knew someone from his past. He snuck out into the garden, dug under the old apple tree in there. Behind a loose tile he found it, a shiny blue ball with a light inside. It was the gift he had once received from a friendly space hen he had rescued as a puppy. But that's another story. He pressed the ball. A faint light flashed. A signal was sent out into the galaxy. Help was on the way. Chapter 5. The Great Sofa Showdown and the Dogman's Secret. Everything was quiet in the house. Far too quiet. Obi stood ready behind the coffee table, watching Gigi and Bella, who had now donned little foil helmets, and were making mysterious meowing sounds in front of the remote control radar station. "Sofa portal will activate in 5 minutes, Gigi said. "The mothership is ready. First the sofa, then the pillow, then the whole world," Obi growled softly. This was the final destination. He pressed the blue space ball once more. It blinked, and blinked, and then a flickering bang in the garden. A mini spaceship crashed into the flower bed, and out stepped a chicken? No, a space chicken with a jetpack and sunglasses. "I brought backup," she said hoarsely, pointing behind her. And there, out of the bright light, he stepped. A tall, muscular figure with big dog ears, a cape and sunglasses. His name rang out like thunder in the quiet living room. "Dogman, Obi, old friend," he shouted. "Time to do what we do best, save couches and confuse cats." Chaos erupted. Gigi pressed the remote control. The couch began to vibrate, lifting a few inches off the floor. A glowing portal hole opened in the seat, and it smelled mysteriously of mackerel and stardust. Obi leaped forward. He barked in code so loud and fast that it disrupted the cat's communication. Bella tripped over a sock and flew straight into the portal with a meow and disappeared. Gigi fought back. "I refuse to return home to planet Pelsia with a failure." But there was Dogman. "It's over, Catalion. You underestimated the power of the dog." He threw a chew-bone grenade straight into their control center. Boom! The foil helmets exploded into confetti. Gigi let out EOBZZZT and disappeared in a flash of blue starlight. The couch fell heavily to the floor again. The portal was closed. Obi breathed heavily and looked at Dogman. "Thanks. Without you, I would have ended up in the Galactic Pillow Factory." Dogman smiled and placed a paw on Obi's head. "You did it, Obi, and you have something they don't have. Family." Obi looked over at Victoria and Dad, who had now come running over. "Are you okay, little buddy?" Dad asked. Obi barked once. Not an angry bark, not a warning bark, but a little everything-is-fine bark. Epilogue. Everything returned to normal. The kittens? They hadn't been seen since. But occasionally the remote control would blink a little for no reason. And Dogman? He disappeared as quickly as he came. But sometimes, when the moon shines brightly and a chew bone stands quivering on the table, Obi knows Dogman is watching. And the couch? It's safe. For now. ND.